You know that feeling when you're watching a video and you just get completely sucked in? It's not just about what the person is saying, right? It's about everything else you're seeing, the shots, the angles, the vibe. Well, that's the magic of great B-roll. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can go from just pointing a camera at something to telling a truly cinematic story. I want you to burn this quote into your brain because it's the key to everything we're talking about. Think of it this way. Your A-roll, that's your main interview, your talking head, that's the skeleton. It gives the video its structure, the raw information. But the B-roll, oh, that's the good stuff. That's the muscle, the heart, the soul. It's what makes your audience feel something, not just hear some facts. So look, we've all been on the left side of this screen, basic coverage. You show up, plop your camera down, get one static wide shot, and call it a day. The B-roll is totally an afterthought. Our entire goal today is to pull you over to the right side, into cinematic storytelling. This is where we start thinking about movement, about shot variety, and most importantly, about emotion. This is where the magic happens. And getting to that right side, it all starts with a huge mental shift. You have to stop thinking of B-roll as filler. It's not just something you grab to cover up edits. No way. It's a primary storytelling tool. Every bit as important as your script. You've got a plan for it, give it some thought, and treat it like the art form it is. And you don't need a Hollywood budget to do this. Of course, your main camera is your workhorse, but seriously, your smartphone? It's an incredible tool for grabbing a quick, unexpected, creative angle that you might otherwise miss. And a drone, well, even just one or two epic drone shots can instantly make your entire project feel bigger and way more professional. The key is variety. Different tools give you a more dynamic visual story. The second you choose a lens, you're making a storytelling decision. Are you going with a wide lens to show the whole scene, to give your audience a sense of place? Or are you grabbing that telephoto lens to zoom in, compress that background, and capture a really intimate, candid moment? Or maybe you put on a macro lens to reveal this entire hidden world of tiny details your subject is interacting with. Every lens tells a completely different story. Okay, I'm begging you, liberate your camera from its tripod prison. Look, tripods are great for stable shots, but intentional movement is what screams cinematic. A gimbal will give you that dreamy, floating, smooth as silk motion. And a monopod? It's the perfect middle ground. You get stability, but with the speed and flexibility to quickly change your angles. Get that camera moving. Now, let's talk about what is, without a doubt, the most important concept for making your B-roll look professional. Here it is. Amateurs get shots. Professionals build sequences. A sequence is just a series of different shots that, when you cut them together, create a full visual idea, a little story. You're not just collecting random clips, you're building visual sentences. And the absolute easiest way to build a sequence is by using what we call the Holy Trinity. It's a formula that just works. First, you get your wide shot. This establishes the scene. It answers the question, where are we? Then you move in for the medium shot. This connects us to the action. It answers, what's going on? And finally, you get that beautiful close-up. This reveals the details, the texture, the emotion. Wide, medium, close-up. Get those 3 shots, and you've got a sequence. And inside those sequences, your camera movements need to have a purpose. A slow push-in isn't just a random move. It's creating emphasis, drawing us closer to a thought or an emotion. A pull-out does the opposite. It reveals the bigger picture, the context of the scene. And a simple pan or tilt, it mimics how our own eyes explore a space, making the viewer feel like they're right there, looking around. Okay, here's a little pro tip that will make your editor, or your future self, so happy. Before you start that beautiful gimbal move, hold the shot completely still for a few seconds. Then, do your move. And when you're done, hold it still again for a few seconds. These little static bits at the beginning and end are called handles, and they give the editor clean, easy places to cut from. It's a total game changer. All right, so we've got the mindset, we've got the composition down. Now it's time to geek out a little bit. Let's pop the hood and look at the technical settings that create that wow factor, that motion and magic that everybody wants. I mean, this is it, right? This is the #1 question. Everybody wants to know how to get that gorgeous, graceful, epic-looking, buttery, smooth, slow motion. So how do you actually do it? The secret is all about shooting at a high frame rate. See, your camera normally films at something like 24 or 30 frames per second. But if you crank that up to 60 or even 120 frames per second, you're capturing way more slices of time. That means when you slow it down later, it looks incredibly smooth instead of all choppy.
Now, the golden rule here, you cannot forget this, is to always set your shutter speed to double your frame rate. So if you're shooting at 60 FPS, your shutter has to be at 1/120th of a second. That's what gives you that perfect, natural-looking motion blur.
Next up, aperture. This is all about controlling your focus and telling the viewer's eye where to look. On the left, we've got a wide aperture, something like f/2.8. This gives you a very shallow depth of field, creating that beautiful, blurry background, that bokeh that really makes your subject pop. But on the right, with a narrow aperture like f11, you get deep focus. Everything from front to back is sharp, which is perfect for those big, grand, establishing shots. And listen, I know autofocus technology is getting really good, but for that ultimate professional control, you gotta switch to manual focus. This stops the camera from doing that distracting focus hunting thing in the middle of a perfect shot. Plus, it unlocks beautiful creative techniques like the focus pull, where you, the storyteller, smoothly shift the audience's attention from one thing in the frame to another. Okay, let's wrap this up with a few final pro tricks. This is that last 10% of polish. We're going to talk about lighting and a few other things that add mood, texture, and a ton of energy to your shots. Let me say this loud and clear. Side lighting is your best friend. Flat, head-on lighting just kills any sense of dimension. But when the light comes from the side, it creates these beautiful little shadows that reveal shape, depth, and texture. It instantly makes everything look more three-dimensional, more dramatic, and way more interesting. And please, please don't shoot everything from your own eye level. It's so boring. You have to force yourself to find new perspectives. Get the camera way down low to the ground and see how it makes your subject feel larger than life. Get up high and shoot down to give a sense of scale. You can even try a Dutch angle, just tilting the camera slightly to add a bit of energy or tension to a scene. This might be the simplest tip in this whole thing, but it is absolutely critical. Hold every single shot for at least 10 seconds. I'm serious. Even when you think you've got it, just count in your head and hold it a little longer. This gives your editor, or you, so many more options. There is nothing worse than realizing a perfect shot is unusable because you cut it off too soon. Okay, I know that was a ton of information. So, to make it all stick, we've boiled it down to a super simple checklist that you can mentally run through every time you're out shooting. So, before you pack up your gear, just ask yourself these questions. Did I shoot in sequences? Did I get my wides, mediums, and close-ups? Did I use some purposeful movement with stable support? Is my frame rate set correctly for what I want to do? Did I take control with manual focus? Did I get off my feet and find some unique angles? And finally, did I hold each shot for 10+ seconds? If you can say yes to these, you're going to have some amazing footage to work with. And in the end, it really does all come back to this. All these techniques we talked about, the lenses, the movement, the settings, they're not just a bunch of technical rules. They are your tools for translating a moment into an actual emotion. You're not just a camera operator showing what happened, you're a storyteller making the audience feel it. So with all these new tools in your toolkit, the only real question left is, what story are you going to go tell?